What's going on YouTube? Welcome to my Madolche deck profile featured on the YGO Mega Beta. This video is going to be a little weird because I'm actually using duels from before the new cards were legal, and I actually completed the whole video right before, so I just want to showcase the updated deck list. Fortunately, the only change in the deck is Pot of Prosperity over Extravagance, which frees up space in the extra deck and lets us pick and choose what to banish, as opposed to blindly banishing all of our Queen Tierra Mazus or Teachers. Disregard any talk about Extravagance or older cards, as I'm going to keep my previous commentary from the recording before Blazing Vortex. Everything else in this deck has remained the same for the most part, but the list you see on screen is what I was using from before. Now enjoy the video as told by my past self from a couple days ago. I'm honestly surprised it took me this long to do this because this deck probably has my highest win ratio on the simulator, and I've been enjoying it since we started playing. Madolche has gotten some new cards since I last played them in Link Evolution, and it's the kind of support that they needed. I wish more of my favorite decks would get support this good, honestly. Anyway, Madolches are known for being this cute dessert deck that has the unique trait of shuffling their monsters back into the deck each time one is destroyed. Most of the time your graveyard will be empty, making things like Monster Reborn or Revival cards rarely any good. Shuffling your monsters back can trigger certain effects of some of the cards in the deck, making it really shine and set you up for victory. First things first, the little princess whose name I can't pronounce can special summon itself from the hand if your grave is empty, along with another monster from the deck, making it one of your best plays. Magellan can search her along with any Madolche monster, making it your next most important monster. From there, Hookay can special summon a monster from the deck by banishing any monster from the grave. Because of this, hand traps can sometimes help if you go second with Hookay in the hand, but they can hurt if you have the princess in the hand instead. They're still a big part of the meta right now and needed against a lot of matchups, but using them correctly matters big time in this deck. Angeli is last but not least, as she can also summon any Madolche from the deck but tributes herself to do so, making the common targets either the Hookay or the princess to summon Hookay. Messenger Lotto is your Garnet, and you always want to summon it from the deck while Hookay is on the field, as its effect only triggers when you have a beast type. Pudding Cess is the last main deck boss of the Madolches, getting an attack boost with an empty grave and being able to pop cards on attack. This can be great in some situations, and she also helps support your rank 5 Exceed monster and the trap Madolche Knights. Onto the support, Madolche Salon is one of the new spells and is simply nuts. This card gives you an additional normal summon, and once per turn when a Madolche monster is added back to the deck or hand, you can set another Madolche spell or trap to the field. Because of this, you can literally loop your spells and traps by shuffling them back with some of your Exceed monsters, and this can get pretty stupid in defensive scenarios. Madolche Promenade is the amazing trap that can negate a card by bouncing a Madolche back to the hand. Its second effect is rare, or maybe I need to get better with it, but constantly reusing this with Salon is insane. Lastly, Knights and Chateau are old cards, but they still do help the deck a lot, so I keep them at one copy each. As I said, hand traps are still needed for the meta, so it's your preference, but the Psyframe engine works well here since the monsters do not hit the grave. The little princess does lock you into Madolche monsters after using her effect, so Extravagance is highly recommended. When Pot of Prosperity comes out, it will probably be better, so consider that instead. For the extra deck, the Madolche Teacher is absolutely nuts on turn 1, as she can shuffle cards from either grave back into the deck, making her a form of disruption against a lot of the meta right now. She can also protect monsters from monster effects, which is amazing as well. Madolche Queen Tierra Mazu should need no introduction, as she is without a doubt one of the greatest rank 4s in the game in my opinion. All I need to say is non-targeting removal of cards by shuffling them back into the deck. The Link Monster Sistar isn't too impressive, but having a Link Monster at all can help trigger your Teacher, or set your grave up for Tierra Mazu or Hookay, so she is still mandatory to run. This deck used to be known for going second, and it still is, but I think it's perfectly possible to go first now, which is why I opted for Solemn Strikes, as opposed to Lightning Storms or other techs in the main deck. Going first with Teacher, Salon, Promenade, and a hand trap or two can be really amazing, and still give you plays for your next turn. If you can get Knights with Pudding Cess on board, it's even better. Once you disrupt your opponent a bit, you can set up for Tierra Mazu on your next turn, and get to shuffling. For the replay, I want to show off a turn 1 versus Prank Kids, another childish but deadly deck with new support. Summoning the little princess is pretty much a standard goal for the deck, whether it be from the hand, or from Hookay or Angeli. Getting this monster presence is important, but remember she lowers the level of the monster she summons by 1, so unless it is Pudding Cess, you will not be Exceed summoning with it. After getting her out, you want to set up for Hookay and Messenger Lotto to get your back row searches, unless your order is a little different. Depending on your hand, you can choose what helps best, but Salon is pretty much the best search to get if you don't have it. I failed to do it in this replay, but you want to overlay for Teacher first, as it is your 5th summon, just in case of Nibiru. Going into Sistart after will trigger Teacher's effect and you can shuffle those monsters back for a Salon Search. Now I personally keep one monster in the grave so that Promenade has a decent target to recover to the hand, since sending monsters back to the extra deck doesn't do much for your next turn unless Extravagance hurts you. Leaving Chateau for later on helps with this as well. I don't know who hurt this guy so bad that he had to hit me with Dark Ruler twice, but it's pretty clear he knows the threat that Teacher possesses since he needs his graveyard in play. I still have Nice to help, but Prank Kids can't form some annoying chain block, so I have to wait for my chance. Sadly, Madolche extra deck monsters don't shuffle themselves back into the extra deck when they are destroyed, and the same goes for the monsters that are used as Link or Exceed materials. As far as I know, Prank Kids eventually end up trying to make Battle Butler their boss fusion monster who contributes itself to nuke all of your monsters. With their Link 1, they can do this twice per turn since they can banish it as cost once from the grave. Nibro might have been live here, but it wouldn't do much since everything was set up in his hand, and having Teacher next turn would be more valuable. While shotgunning Teacher's effects to shuffle the Meow Wow back into the deck would have been ideal, it's actually better that I waited since I would still have to deal with a field nuke from Butler, and I probably would have lost my hopes at an offensive push. No matter what, I want to go for Tierra Mizzou, whether it's for lethal or just to slow him down. With the ability to shuffle back our traps, we can eventually set up again, but if we have lethal, we're going to go for it. With Butler coming out now, I decided to use Teacher's effect on Pudding Cess to protect her since she has the most value of staying on the field. We didn't waste our normal summon, and thanks to Salon we have an extra one, so all we need to do is get another level 4 to go into the Queen and get spinning. Also, thanks to Chateau, we get to add our monsters back to the hand, so we will have the level 4s we need to hit the field. Sadly enough, even with Tierra Mizzou, we don't have lethal thanks to all of his monsters hitting the field again, but it will definitely weaken him a bit still. After seeing me survive 2 nukes from Butler and still have a Tierra Mizzou play, my opponent decides to scoop, and that's that. I hope you guys enjoy the replays, stay tuned for next time, and make sure to like and comment on the video. Later. Bye.